If I used my mind and think of one thing, I'm not thinking of the other. If I watch something and focus on it, I'll be immersed to look at the stuff, but not the periphery of the vision or outside of the vision. If I'm riding a surfboard on the wave and I feel the change in the wave, but I start to use my mind to think what to do, I'm caught up in the mind and not listening to what the body says, and the intuition is pointing what I should do. The mind is hesitating. So, how can the mind be sharp so that you're not just caught up in one thing? And people talk about think outside the box. How we do that? One way that I think that's dangerous is to have a multiple viewpoint. At least we have those preferences of falling off the board when I was thinking, or caught up in the mind and forgot to turn off the heat at the gas, or anything of that nature. Or you see this beautiful lady and your emotion pops up and everything, your mind goes blank. It happens. So, can you be calm and quiet and be able to perceive what is really happening, just not just in the mind but elsewhere? Let's say if I'm caught up with this beautiful lady and I forgot about what I was doing, how can I re-establish myself? Is it meaningful to think like that? If in the case it's not the lady, but some people do the drug, which I don't, or drinking, and grab something driven by some kind of emotion at the moment, then you are driven by that whatever is producing such emotion and the thought occupying your whole being, disconnected from being able to see what is really going on. Not just the narrow sense, but the wider sense. And to the degree of not just in the mind, but what's outside the mind, which sounds like probably weird in some way or the other. What's outside the mind? Unless you know what no mind or empty mind is, and get the sense of that awareness of being, if you're just in the mind space, thinking that's everything, and there's no limit to the mind, then you are caught up in the mind. So the training to go beyond the mind is not the easy thing, but over time you can do it by exercising of the meditation, or even just do some chore like washing dishes. You're carefully wiping off or cleaning up, and in the process your mind is empty. You are just functioning like what the nature is telling you what to do, because you know all the process. As much as if you are surfing, without thinking you get things done. You're not confined. You enjoy your vision and feeling expand not just the fear of what to do or when to do, or if you can, what if I can't, all of that. So the mastery is something to do with going beyond the state of the mind. And there are different levels of mastery, like I said, that we are the master, that we can walk without thinking, that's one level. But if we can be the master of how to use our mind, that's a huge difference of the mastery as human being. Human has added this dimension of the mind, and it's such a complexity or interesting or amusing stuff in there. And 90% of your day, if not 99.9%, we may be in that mind state, but never go out of the mind state to see how the mind is functioning. So I mentioned about the two universes. One is mind universe, the other is, I don't know what I said, outside of the mind universe, the state of being. And be able to have those two universes connected, one from the other and jumping back and forth is one level, but it's the same level as you try to be on the surfboard and fail, and then you study and you get the idea, and then you go back to surf, but you have to have those things integrated over time, and that requires the skill to develop the skill of sort of like doing two things without being confused. Conscious and unconscious playing the game together seamlessly without surprises, and you can address it. That's the mastery. To get there, if in the case of martial art or the surfing or painting or any skill, it requires repetition to get in tune to the way things to happen. And that's why people call it, this person has mastered the skill. So we master the skill of how to walk, most of us, and then how to master the skill of using our mind. In my case, I tried to work on that for years, but if you're trying, you're not getting it. But without trying, you cannot get it. So it requires million times of a trial. We did that when we started to learn how to walk. And in terms of using the mind, especially when the society is inducing or playing this mind game, if you do this, this is wonderful, and if this happens, you should be careful, and all of that. And on the TV and the politics and the movies and everywhere, to catch your mind to sell stuff, communicate. So modern day humans lose the state of being, the natural state of what all the plants and birds and trees, veggies, animals are familiar with. And we have that, but we get engaged in this mind play, which is fun. When you're little, you start to learn, and yet you have a pain of going through it because certain things you're not allowed. And there's rules, responsibilities to go with it over time. So to be human is not easy, but we learn, but maybe not as well connected to the state of being, because nobody's telling you that you need to be connected to the state of being, except maybe certain religious and spiritual, but even that is dangerous because of the use of the mind or the words, and the words can play its game without really communicating the essence of what it's pointing to. So, realization, awakening, all of that also related to the wisdom generation, thinking outside the box, so that we get the aha moment. Oh, this is what it's been talked about. This is what it means. This means satori or awakening. Or this is the eternal being or state of being or emptiness or vast emptiness, any of those. Without experience, the word doesn't mean anything. With the experience of what is really is happening, we start to know more about ourselves. Being a human is not the easy thing because of the ability and the complexities to go with it and the traps that is made available for the sake of playing with the mind and inducing and attracting or luring to buy things and appealing. We play the game. How can we see through that? Introspection, go inside, not just the forms and the externalities, but what's going on. The root of our being is not out there, but deep inside. So we may connect when we are asleep or in meditation or deep samadhi or when you're painting or dish washing or whatever, then go back, flip back to the different state, back and forth. But how we bridge them so that we are not losing our source, the being, the grounded state. If you think there's something in there, perhaps connecting to some of the experiences or mini awakening, whatever that is, there may be an opening that we can look into it and find the connection and the learning. Experiential learning, not the book knowledge. And the opening may get bigger. So as if we are back in child days to learn how to use the tool, this is the new tool. Very fundamental tool of being human or beyond being human to be awakened human. What I'm saying is that maybe useless, but maybe useful, depending upon the interest and what may trigger from inside of you. And if so, if there's some trigger, as much as I have had many times and many awakening, if I may call that, the opening may get bigger and you start to see the world in a totally different viewpoint. But we may still lose that in and out again. The hide and seek and hide. But mastery, the possibility of the mastery may become more apparent, and you may feel the vibration throughout the whole body that, yes, that's the way to go. That's how I feel. Not in your thinking, but as if your whole body cells are excited to believe that that's the way to live. If we bring back this state multiple times a day, repetition is mother of skill. New habitual pattern, new nature's way of prevailing what the nature can do may open up the possibility for us to go beyond being a human with suffering, but less suffering and with a joy and fun and learning to be at the state of being, not be consumed in this and that, but find way, wisdom to orient us moving toward that direction. Do you see the possibility? Do you see, feel this voyage, the journey, endless sea, and feel vibrant, energized to go for it? There are many different ways to live, but this is one possible way. I call it the new hero's journey, to explore and share, exchange ideas, and confirm and have fun along the way to live our life.